Jim Sciutto, former Obama administration official. Now CNN again. Cut 15, go.
You saw that data there. The president using repeatedly, not just in his public comments, but in campaign ads, words that are repeated by, that are in common with white supremacists, white nationalists.
I have no idea what that means. They think they're clever. Again, the effort to tie this president to the Klan is sick. It's just sick. There's no evidence for this whatsoever. None. But look how extreme this propaganda is. Look at the extreme efforts they'll go to prove this, you see. It's just incredible. Meanwhile, if you have a jihadi come into this country and blow up somebody or blow up some place or drive a vehicle in New York and run down people who say, shh, hey, what? Religion doesn't matter. Background doesn't matter. And by the way, that's Trump's fault too, I'm sure. Go ahead.
Including the shooter who carried out this attack behind me. Why is your campaign...
The shooter who carried out that attack also essentially embraced the democratic socialist domestic agenda on the environment, on guaranteed minimum income. There's no evidence whatsoever that he embraced Trump. This is like Trump's tweet on Elijah Cummings, where they're putting words in his mouth. You know, this word infestation has a racial connotation. It does? Oh, yeah. Well, then why did Elijah Cummings use it 20 years ago? Hey, trying to divert. And the president only uses it when he's talking about minority. Actually, he used it when he was talking about New Hampshire a couple of years ago. How do I find these things and the media don't? Because they don't want to look.
I left my community of Baltimore, a drug-infested area.
He does not attack their districts, but he never said that their districts or their states...
I won New Hampshire because New Hampshire is a drug-infested den.
And the president only uses it when he's talking about minority. Actually, he used it when he was talking about New Hampshire a couple of years ago. How do I find these things and the media don't? Because they don't want to look. It's not their narrative. That's why. You know, the president was on an upswing. Remember? A couple of weeks ago. His polls were on an upswing. The Mueller hearings were a disaster. So they move on to the next thing. We can't just have honest journalism about the mass murder of 32 beautiful human beings. We can't just have fact-based journalism seeking the truth, unvarnished, without politics. This is what we get. A man has to defend himself, the president, who has to prove a negative. The Republican Party goes on the run. The narrative is pushed. It's really just so appalling. How the hell can they connect him to the Klan? It is so preposterous. So contemptible. And then, of course, Obama chimes in. Oh, the great Obama. The noble Obama issues a statement. You know, was he issuing a statement from a yacht in the Caribbean? Or where was he issuing his statement? I'm just curious. The man of the people. Oh, the great Obama has spoken. What did he say? What did he say? Oh, he was critical of Trump. Oh. We've all been waiting to hear from him. The great Obama. If only the Republicans would have allowed him to stop these mass shootings that occurred under him. If only they would have passed the legislation, you know, like his Obamacare for health care. If only they would have done everything Obama said, we wouldn't be in this position, ladies and gentlemen. The great Obama. Go ahead.
Repeating that kind of rhetoric.
I think it's important to call out the problem we have with illegal immigration for what it is, and that's what the president has been doing so in fighting the battle against illegal immigration.
But why does he have to speak about human beings in those terms? You know, and this goes back to the campaign, rapists and murderers.
Rapists and murderers. Did the president call all immigrants rapists and murderers? Did he call illegal aliens all illegal aliens, rapists and murderers? He said rapists and murderers are getting into this country. Are they not getting into this country? Are our prisons not filled with rapists and murderers, including people who are here illegally? You see how they play games? Did he call every immigrant a rapist and murderer? Did he call every Hispanic a rapist and murderer? No. So why do they continue? Why don't they, in fact, play exactly what he said, rather than interpreting it for us?
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
Go ahead.
He laughed at a Florida rally in May of this year when people talked about shooting people coming across the border. You can deal with illegal immigration. Why do you have to speak, Mark? Why do you have to speak?
All right, stop. You see, Mr. Sciutto, who's an Obama apparatchik, is not asking questions. He's pushing the agenda. Mr. Lauder is trying to speak. I'm looking at the transcript. Mr. Sciutto speaks 3/4, maybe even more of the time. Mr. Lauder, the guest, has almost no time to speak. Anyway, go ahead.
I'll play the clip again for you, Mark. He laughed when someone in the crowd.
Clip, not just the edited clip.
He edited the clip. If we're Nancy Pelosi, they'd all be freaking out, but they edited the clip. They didn't play the whole clip of the president, and they're not going to. And they're not going to. Joe Biden is on Telemundo today. And he has an idea for the first day he comes in office. Cut 4, go.
First of all, the day I get elected president, dreamers are going to be legalized.
By his own signature, by fiat. Dreamers are going to be legalized. Now, you're going to hear two voices on this. The left that's going to say, yes! The same left that said the president does not have an authority, despite the budgets that give him the authority, to move funds around and build a wall without specific congressional authorization. And then you're going to hear the never-Trumpers and the pretend constitutionalists say effectively the same thing. No, giving people legalized status without any statutory authority whatsoever and moving funds around from one budget to another with statutory authority are two completely different things. That it all get mushed up together because that's the way it works. So Joe Biden, if he can, he will take your guns away. And first day in office, dreamers, over 1 million people will get legal status. First day in office. He's the centrist, you see. He's the center-left guy. He's not to be feared, you know. He's going after the same voters as Trump. Joe Biden is not just a low IQ dummy. He's also a liar. He's lied about his academic background in the past. He's plagiarized in the past. So he's very qualified to be the nominee for the Democrat Party. And he's on CNN yesterday and lies through his teeth about the President of the United States. And, of course, CNN doesn't call him out because CNN doesn't want to call him out. This is their narrative. Hat tip, right scoop, cut 5, go.
And for the first time today, the first time I've ever heard him say he condemns white supremacy, white terrorism.
Do we talk about other people based on their skin when these killings occur? I mean, it's just... I'm just saying that this guy obviously is a racist and a white supremacist, but all these mass murders over time are not done exclusively by white people or white supremacists. Some are, don't get me wrong, and they threaten me too. That's not my point. Now let's listen to Trump. What Trump has said over the past. This was put together by a gentleman on Twitter. It's been on TV. It's been played on radio the last 48 hours. First, we have March 2016. Then we have August 15, 2017. Excuse me, August 14, 2017, and August 15, 2017. And this is just 3 examples. Cut 6, go.
I've rejected David Duke. I've rejected the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. From the time I'm 5 years old, I rejected them. I put it on Twitter last week.
About the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans.
So what's going on here, folks, is the continued effort, a big lie, to destroy the character of the president. It is just cold politics, power politics. It is horrific. If you're a normal person, you listen to this stuff, and you feel like, throwing up on your loafers. But the fact is, this is what's going on in Washington, D.C. This is all they know. They don't produce anything else. And it's all about power, who's in charge, who can position themselves, who can use the government for themselves and for their constituent groups and so forth against their opponents. And it's gotten vicious and brutal. Vicious and brutal. So now the president has to defend himself against allegations of racism because the media just keep it up. And these people are not even challenged. They're not even challenged. Here's Cory Booker, March 2019. Really not that long ago. Cut 7, go.
And for him to fail even to condemn Nazis or even to talk about white supremacy as a problem in this country, to me, that is being complicit in the violence that is happening. This is a sick man. And, of course, as you just heard, he has. But this is a very sick guy, this Cory Booker. Remember the way he treated Kavanaugh as well. So that was March. Now, yesterday on CNN, here's Cory Booker. Cut 8, go.
Senator, another thing that the president said in his remarks today, I'll read it to you. He said, in one voice, our nation must condemn racism, bigotry, and white supremacy. That has been something, hearing that from President Trump has been something that I know a lot of folks have been waiting for and looking for, not just in the past 24 hours.
He didn't do it just in the past 24 hours, idiot, phony journalist. Why do you lie? Go ahead.
Long time. Do you welcome that acknowledgement?
No. Look.
No. You just said in March that he must criticize the Nazis and the white supremacists, which he's done multiple times. And he did it again yesterday. But that's not good enough for Cory Booker, because Cory Booker's not really interested in his president's statements. This is a narrative that they're pushing. Go ahead.
Reconciliation, the kind of healing that we need, starts first with someone standing up and saying, I've been wrong. I've made mistakes.
Yeah, right. Of course. 2 people just murdered 32 people, and the president has to stand up and say, I've been wrong, I've made mistakes. Do you see how sick this is? And it is constant on CNN. It is constant on MSNBC in the pages of the New York Slimes, the Holocaust-denying New York Slimes. I'll get to them in a minute. And the Washington Compost. It's just incredible. Incredible. And then we have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is a bigot, whose chief of staff is now a former chief of staff under investigation by the FBI for some financial shenanigans in the last election. Here's what she had to say. Cut 10, go.
Directly responsible when we allude to people as an invasion, as an infestation.
All right, so see what's happening here now is do not oppose the progressive agenda on the border. Do not use the word invasion. Only use the words that the radical progressives in the media, same thing, tell you can use. So you can no longer use the word invasion, or that will have a link to mass murder. You can't use the word illegal alien anymore, the phrase. That needs to stop. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, you can't oppose the progressive agenda unless they tell you can, and they tell you how you can debate the issue.
Calling it an invasion.
Hold on,
he is
Louise.
demonizing people. Laura.
A lot of people have called it an invasion over the years. That's not all that surprising today.
It is an invasion when you cross the borders of a country and you're not welcomed and you don't have a visa. That's an invasion.
Well, Louise,
Michael,
if thousands of people came into your house in one night, Louise, if thousands of people came into your home at one time, not invited, you might like them. They might be great people, but you wouldn't say, "Okay, fantastic. Sit down for dinner." You'd probably say, "What's going on here? You need an invitation to come to my house." That's right. Not a bad thing, okay, for you to believe that or anyone else. So that's, I mean, let's be honest here. What's going on? This is an attempt to circumscribe
I've called as you have for fixing the
speech.
broken immigration system.